Creating your brand website. In this lesson, you're going to discover how you can create a quick and easy brand website while you're waiting for your inventory to arrive at Amazon. The easiest way to create a brand website is to use a web-based service. These website services have come a long way in the past couple of years, and there are numerous different options. The one we highly recommend is Wix.com. Wix.com is a drag and drop website builder. In other words, you can just drag and drop elements of the website onto the builder itself. This means no HTML coding knowledge is required, and it is free to start. You can get your site looking exactly how you want it. Then when you are ready, upgrade for $14 a month to add a whole range of features. Should you build it yourself? Well, you will learn how you can pay someone to do this for you. However, we recommend you do build it yourself, as it will create familiarity with the site and how to add content. And it's very simple to build. And it can also be a lot of fun. So let's go to Wix.com and get started. So to get started, you just want to go to Wix.com. It's Wix.com. And once you get here, just click on Get Started. Now to sign up, all you want to do is click on the sign up link next to New to Wix. Or you can continue with Facebook or Google if you wish. But I'm going to click on Sign Up. So I've just entered my email twice and my password twice. And then I'm just going to click on Sign Up. Now, you can answer these questions if you wish, or you can click on Skip in the bottom right. And I'm actually going to click on the Skip button because I know going through their questions doesn't really help. So I'm going to go ahead, click on Skip. Now at this point you can use the ADI. However, although it is a pretty clever system, it can actually create more problems than it solves. So I'm actually going to show you how to do it using the Wix editor. And I'm just going to click on Choose a Template. Now you just want to pick a template that looks okay. It doesn't matter if it doesn't match your brand because you can change it. You just want to look at something that looks appealing to you. Now you can type something in, so I could put outdoor and it'll show me templates that are related to the outdoors. So this Plan Your Adventure one could match, but you can see here you have to pay for this one. So you want to be finding one that says free. I'm not overly keen on any of these so far. I've got one with a bike, but it's an e-commerce one too. So I'm actually going to go for one that I've actually used in the past. So I'm going to click on blogs and forums. And the thing about the blog is it gives you a site that's got a blog attached, and that means it's easy to add content. But I'm going to scroll down and see if I can find the one I've used before. But you can use any of these. They all work exactly the same way. And in fact, this one looks quite interesting, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm actually going to use this one called a parenting blog. Now, as you can see, I'm choosing a parenting blog template, but my site is going to be about outdoors and outdoor sports. So to get going, we're just going to put our mouse cursor over the template we want to use. And then I'm going to click on Edit. And that's going to open the website editor. Now, by all means, it's going to show you some videos. Do go through these. Wix do a great job of showing you how to do everything, and their videos are very useful. However, I'm going to skip them and just jump straight into this. So I'm going to click on the cross to close it, and then we're ready to get started. However, before we do that, I'm just jumping back to the main page, and I'm actually going to change my username, and there's a good reason for this, which you'll see later on. To do that, you want to put your mouse cursor over the top right where the icon is, and then click on Account Settings. And then you want to change your username, and you want to change it to your brand name. So I've changed it to Outdoor Squared. And what this means is that you'll get an address with your brand name in it followed by Wix. In other words, I'll get one saying outdoorsquared.wix.com. So while we're building our site, it means we've got a good URL to send people to. And this means before we pay to have our domain directed to the site, we've got a good URL. And what I mean by getting a domain directed to this site is when we've built our website, we can actually have our domain name redirect to the Wix site. So in other words, if someone types in outdoorsquared.com, they will see the Wix site we've built, but we'll talk about that later. So I'm just going to click on Save Changes, put your password in and click OK. And there we go. We can see my username has been changed to Outdoor Squared. Now, when you first try this, it might keep giving you errors saying the username is taken. If it does that, don't worry about it. Carry on creating your website and come back and edit this later. Sometimes it just takes a while for Wix to allow you to make that change. But let's go back to our editor. Okay, so now that we're here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the title of our site. Now, to change anything on the site, you pretty much just need to double click on it. So, for the title here, we want to change this because obviously it says Ninja Parents Blog. All I need to do is double click, and then I'm going to type in outdoor squared. Whoop. And then once you've got it, you just click anywhere outside the box and you see it's saved it. Now, if you've got a longer brand name, you can resize this. If I double click on it again, you can see here font size. So I can increase it. It makes everything bigger, can make it smaller. So you just want to find the right size. The other thing you can do is the alignment. You see here, and if you click on that, you can change the alignment if, for instance, when you typed in the name, it's not centered. So I've got it centered, but I'm all good. I'm happy with my title for now. Now, I don't like this background behind the title, so I'm going to double click on it. And here it's giving me the option to change it. Now, I can use my own images by uploading them. I can use social images. If I have something on my Facebook page or anywhere else, you can use those. You can use images that are free from Wix. And you can also use Shutterstock images that you have to pay for. But for this, I'm going to use Wix. So if you look at the titles, if you look at the categories here, I'm going to guess sports and recreation is my best shot. So I'm going to click on that and then just try and find an image that might work for my site. I'm hoping I'm going to get incredibly lucky and have someone on a bicycle, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have that luck. But I was wrong. You can see this one here. So I'm going to click on it. You can see it's got a check mark and then click apply. Now you can see the image isn't exactly perfect. Okay, I've got a bike on the back, but you can create an image specifically that's the right size if you wish. And actually, to point something out here regarding support, I've already mentioned Wix support is great. But if we go back to our account page, you can get support at any time by clicking on the support button. And you could type in image resize and then go and find information about it. But I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to leave it alone for now, and I'm okay with it. So we've got our title and our background image. The next thing we're going to look at is the About page. And you can see it's right here. So we want to double click on the About page. And then you'll see the site menu come up. You want to click on About. And then we can close it. And then we can edit this. So we want to put a new title in. So again, I'm just going to double click on it. I've just made the title about outdoor sports. Again, I can click outside of it. Then for the text, I'm going to select it all. And then I'm just going to paste in the About I used for Facebook. Now I'm going to get rid of this image because I don't want an image on our About page. So all I need to do is click on it and then hit the delete key on your keyboard and it's gone. Scroll down a bit further and we've got this contact form which we're not going to use right now. So first of all, I want to remove the text. So I click on it and click delete. Then click on the box and click delete and you can see they've all gone. Now, something to point out. If you ever make a mistake, it's really simple to go back. And if you look up here, you've got an undo and redo. All you do is click on the undo button. And I actually clicked it twice, so both have come back. But that's how you fix an error. Now again, we've got this other box. We're going to be doing something different for our mailing list. So I'm going to click on it and hit the delete key. And then you'll notice we've got all this wasted space. So to fix that, we're just going to click on this line underneath and then drag it up. You'll see it's pulling everything down and it's making that box smaller. Now, I think this writing's a little bit small, so I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to make the font size bigger. And you can see it's making the box bigger at the same time. Then if I click outside, I think that's better. Now, you can play around with this as much as you like. Just remember, if you do something you don't like, then click the back arrow. And while we're on that subject, you can click save at any time. So when you're perfectly happy with a certain thing you've just done, click on save. But just remember, if you click on save and you want to go back to something else, you won't be able to do that. You'd have to actually fix it manually. Okay, so at this point, let's have a quick look at what our site's going to look like. And we can do that by clicking on the preview button. Whatever you do, don't push publish by mistake. Let's click on preview. So this is actually what our site's going to look like. And it's not looking too bad, but what you'll notice is we've got this huge area of white space underneath. And we've also got some information in the footer which we need to change or remove. So I'm going to click on the back to editor. And then the easiest way to remove the white space under a content section is if we click on the line underneath the content and you see this square box, if you actually just double click on it, you can see it's removed all the white space. So if we look at preview again, we can see it's looking better, but we've still got this white space and that's actually in the footer. So I'm going to click on back to editor. Now this is a little bit more complex, but before I show you how to do this, we're actually going to edit these. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to click on these social icons. You can see it's Google+, Facebook and Twitter. So I'm going to click on it and then I'm going to click on set social links and it's going to open this page. Now we don't actually want Google+, we want YouTube, but we also want Pinterest. So I'm going to highlight the Google+. So I want to remove it. So I'm just going to put my mouse over it. And you can see you get the trash can. And I'm just going to click on it. and it's gone. So we got Facebook, Twitter, and we want Pinterest. So to do that, I'm going to click on the add icons, and there's our Pinterest icon. I'm going to click on it and click add to gallery, and you can actually drag it across to make it the third icon. And then we also want YouTube. However, if we click on the icons, we can actually type in to find a specific icon. So I typed in YouTube and hit the return button, and the closest thing we've got is probably this one, which I quite like. So I'm going to highlight it, and again I'm going to add it to gallery. And once again, it's at the front. We actually want it, I would say, second. So we've got Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Pinterest. And I'm going to click on done. So you now see we've got these 4 icons underneath. But you can see that the Twitter one and the Facebook one are just black, which looks kind of drab compared to the other 2. So I'm going to click on it again, and let's see if we can find a better Facebook icon. So I'm going to click on it, click on replace icon over here on the right, type in Facebook, and I'm already seeing one right at the top because this is the one we want. So I'm going to click on it and click choose image, and there you go. And we can do the same for Twitter. Click on it, click on replace icon to scroll down instead of using the search bar this time, and it's right there. So I'm going to click on it and click choose image. So now we've got 4 nicer looking icons. So we'll click done, and there you can see we've got the 4 colored icons. Now the last thing we can do here is we want to actually set the links for each of these. Right now they're just using Wix's social address. So once again, you would just click on them, click on set social links. So for instance, if I click on Twitter, and then over here on the right I click on the link, you can see it's twitter.com/Wix. Well, we want this to be our Twitter account and not Wix. So once we've created our Twitter account, we can come back here and edit this and add our own. Now we have already got a Facebook, so I'm going to do that one now. So I've highlighted Facebook, I'm going to click on the Facebook URL, and then I'm going to put in my own Facebook brand page. And you can see it's facebook.com/outdoor squared. Now you want to leave the default new window, and you'll see why in 1 second. Once you've done that, you just click on done, and then you click done again. So I've replaced the Facebook URL. But to check that, we can click on preview, and then if I click on the Facebook URL, you can see it's gone to our Facebook page. So we're getting somewhere. So we want to go back to the editor. And the next thing in the footer is this copyright notice. I'm going to double click on it, and we want to change it to 2018, in other words the current year, and we'll change it to Outdoor Squared. And I'm going to remove the proudly created with Wix. So we've got a copyright. Now the next one, it's actually got an address. If you don't want to include your address, double click on it and then just remove the address so that the email address is there. And if you've got an email address, go ahead and put it in. Now I haven't created the email address for Outdoor Squared yet, so I'm just going to leave it and click outside. And the last one, the telephone numbers. If you want to use the support telephone number, you can here, but I strongly recommend you don't, especially when you're first starting out. So I've clicked on it and I'm actually going to hit delete. So our footer is looking a little bit better, although this double line seems a bit strange stuck out here. So I'm going to click on that and delete that too. So we've now got our footer. Now we want to get rid of this white space. Now we can do this by left clicking on the first box, in other words the social links, then holding down our shift key, clicking on the separator lines, then clicking on the next box and the next separator lines and the next box, and then click on the group elements. And basically it's holding all this together. And you can see the little down arrow here, got drag on it. So if you hold your left mouse key down, you can move it up and let go. And you now see it's moved it up the page. And then we can go a step further by clicking on the line underneath the footer, holding down the left key and then slowly moving it up. And you can see it's dragging everything down and just let go. So let's click on preview and you can see it's much more compact. Now it's not looking perfect by any means, but I'm just trying to show you how you do everything. So if we go back to editor, now you can see these are, I've clicked on one, you can see they're all still grouped. So if we wanted to edit one of them, we just click on ungroup. So at this point you could play around with this a lot more. You could make the fonts bigger, at the bottom you can make all these boxes bigger, or you could make the text above smaller. This is pretty much the least important page because it's just the About Me page. The one we're really interested in is our home page. So I'm going to leave the About Me page and double click on the home page, and it brings up our page site menu, and I'm going to click on home and then click on the cross in the top right to close the site menu box. Now at this point you can see we've got all this content that they've put in for us, and we need to add our own content. But again, this is quite simple to do. Now, this lesson is so important, I've decided to split it into 2 parts as it was going to be a very long lesson. So in the next lesson, we will continue building our Wix site and pay particular attention to adding content. But that's it for this lesson. Take care.